So this one is classified people to for IGCSE physics topic 1.3, which is about the mass and weight. And we'll do the classified MCQs. Which quantity is weight an example of? So weight is not an acceleration, weight is not a mass, weight is not a pressure, weight is actually a force. The gravitational force is also known as the weight of an object. So it is a type of force. In question 2, a sphere P made up of steel has a weight of 10 Newton on Earth. A sphere Q, also made up of steel, has a weight of 10 Newton on Mars. The gravitational field strength of the Earth is gravitational field strength on Earth is greater than the gravitational field strength on the Mars. Which statement is correct? Look, we have two objects. One is on the Earth, another one is on Mars. And the two objects have the same weight. The weight on Earth is 10 newtons and weight on the Mars is also 10 newtons. So when we compare, because weight is mass times the gravity, okay? And this is sphere P and this one is sphere Q. Both have the same weight and weight is mass times the gravity. As we know, the gravitational field strength of the Earth is greater and they mentioned, so if the gravitational field strength of the Earth is greater, it means the mass of the Earth should be smaller because the product of mass and gravity is giving us 10. When the mass multiplied by gravity, we get 10 Newton. Here, the gravitational field strength on the Mars is smaller, so means the mass of this object should be higher so that the product will be 10. Because if we want the constant product, we want the same product 10 Newton. So on Earth, because of a strong gravity, higher gravity, so the mass should be smaller. But where on the Mars, the gravity is weaker, so the mass should be more, so that the product will be 10. So it means that object P is lighter and object Q is heavier. So which statement is correct? The mass of sphere P is same. They don't have the same mass. If they were having the same mass, then the weight of P should be more than Q. The mass of sphere P is less than mass of sphere Q. That's right, because P is on Earth where the strong gravity, so its mass should be less as the gravity is stronger. So we get the result product of mass and gravity as 10 Newton. Is it clear why B is the right answer?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And what about option C? On Mars, the weight of a P is more than 10 Newton. If its mass is less, so its weight will be less than 10 Newton. And on Earth, the mass of a Q is less than 10. No, it will be more than 10 because its mass is more and then the gravity will be stronger. So its weight will be more than 10 Newton on Earth. Question 3. An object has a weight of 6.4 newtons on Earth where the gravitational field strength is 10. Which row state the mass and the weight on the moon where the gravitational field strength is 1.6? So we know the mass does not change. Mass of an object remains same throughout the universe until unless the amount of a matter changes. So example, the gravity of the Earth, it's given 10 Newton per kg in the question, and the gravity of the moon is 1.6 Newton for 1 kg. So, and the force of the gravity, the weight of this object is 6.4 Newton. So what will be the mass? The weight is mass into gravity. So if we need the mass, it is weight divided by gravity. So weight is 6.4. The weight is 6.4 and the gravity is 10. So 6.4 divided by 10.64. So means the mass on Earth is 0.64 kg. And mass of an object does not change. So on the moon, it will also have the same mass, which is 0.64 kg. So 0.64 kg on Earth, 0.64 kg on moon, because the mass does not change. But what about the weight? The weight will change as the weight is a product of mass and gravity. The mass of the object is 0.64 and the gravitational field strength of the moon is 1.6. So 0.64 times 1.6, it is about 1 Newton. So weight is 1 Newton on the moon, but the mass will be 0.64. That's why A is the right answer. Is it clear, this one? Any doubts in this?
Yes.
Then in question 4, an object has a mass of 2 kg on Earth. So there is an object and the mass of this object is 2 kg. And the gravity of the Earth is 10 Newton per kg. These are from old past paper. The recent past paper, the gravitational field strength should be 9.8, but because this is before that, so it is written as 10 Newton. We need the weight on Earth and the weight on the moon. So if the same object is taken to the surface of the moon, where the gravity is 1.6, the mass won't change, the mass will remain 2 kg. So if we need the weight on the Earth, weight is mass times the gravity. So mass is 2 and the gravity is 10. So 2 multiplied by 10, 20 newtons. And what about the weight on the moon? The mass is 2 and the gravity is 1.6. So 2 into 1.6, that is 3.2 newtons. 3.2 Newton on the moon and 20 Newton on Earth. So that's why D is the right answer. So mass of an object, idea remains the same. The mass of an object does not change throughout the universe as we move from one place to another, but the weight of an object changes. Mass will change if the number of the particle changes. But if there is no change in the number of the particle, the mass will not change. In question 5, a body is moved from place X to place Y. So we move the body from place X to place Y, where the gravitational field strength is different. Where the gravity, like example, this is place X and we move to place Y, the value of a G is different. It changes. What happened to the mass? As I mentioned, mass only changes if the amount of matter change. So as the amount of matter does not change, the mass does not change. So mass remains the same. But what about the weight? Depends on the gravity. As there is a change in the gravity, the weight will change. The mass stays the same, where weight of an object changes.